Hey, everybody. It's Allie. And welcome to our Y&R Chat for Sunday, June 18th, 2023. What are the odds that two brothers, Nick and Adam, would both be asked to make the same decision on the same night? Who lives and who dies? Your child or the mother of your child? Whoa! I have to hand it to Y&R. This has been a great week, and I have to start out with the story that had me riveted every single day. Cameron Kirsten. I mean, I was very skeptical about this whole story at first. I did not expect to enjoy it, but it really turned out to be a nail biter. I mean, it was short but effective, and it kept me in suspense every single day this week. There were so many memorable moments that I thought, how am I even gonna go through this chronologically? So I thought, you know what? Instead of doing it the way I normally do it, I'm going to give you my top 10 terrifying moments of the Cameron Kirsten story this week. That's a little bit more fun, and we'll build up some suspense of our own here this way. I'm going to start out with my number 10 most terrifying Cameron Kirsten moment of the week, and that is the sewer. The whole sewer. I mean, on top of Cameron having a bloody face, he was filthy all week long, and I just at first figured that it was from sneaking around at the ranch, but come to find out that he had been spending time down in the sewer, crawling through the sewer as a way to come and go from the ranch, and also apparently he had like an office workstation down there where he was working on an apparently sophisticated bomb. I mean, can you even imagine crawling around in a sewer system and how disgusting that would be? As soon as the sewer schematics were found, I couldn't ignore it. I mean, the whole rest of the time, I could practically smell the stench coming off of him. And by the way, I really appreciated having the sewer set. I mean, that was something new and visually interesting to look at. There was this big fan or something that like kept rotating and casting shadows all over that scene, and it made me jumpy. Every single time the fan blade came around and cast a shadow onto the scene, I thought someone was going to jump out of one of the shadows. That had me on edge. That was a little visual element that kept the suspense churning for me. And Nikki and Victor also found the schematics to the sewer or whatever. So I think it's going to be fun to also see Nikki and Victor going in to interact with that sewer set next week too. Especially since in the original story, Nikki ended up helping Sharon look for what she thought was Cameron Kirsten's dead body in the sewer. She thought that's where Larry Wharton had disposed of him. So, I mean, yeah, number 10, the sewer. It all came back around. Number 9, the brawl. Nick had a chance to fight Cameron, man to man, as Nick said, but Nick didn't win. When Nick rushed downstairs, found Cameron and his poopy paws all over Sharon, I thought, oh, here we go. Nick's gonna save the day. Right here, right now, this is where it ends in the living room. But he didn't. He didn't save the day. Cameron got a hold of one of Sharon's, like, iron bookends or something and smashed Nick right over the head with it. Could have killed him right then and there. I mean, Cameron knocked Nick out cold while Sharon was just standing at the door yelling out to ranch security for help, but being no help. I mean, Cameron could have smashed Nick in the head a couple of more times while he was passed out cold on the floor. Cameron could have finished the job right then and there and killed Nick dead, but he didn't do that. Instead, Cameron freaked out, yelled at Sharon that she had made a big mistake trying to fool him, and with this very desperate, angry look on his face, Cameron then just turned around. He ran right up backstairs in kind of a mwahaha, I'll be back sort of way. And I just couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. The hero blew it. The heroes totally blew it. I mean, I was shocked because I thought, well, the situation cannot get any worse. But then it did. Number 8 for me was the screwdriver in Sharon's neck. That was driving me nuts. The screwdriver just like piercing into her delicate neck. I mean, lots of times we'll see in drama a villain with a gun, like holding the gun up to the hostage. But Cameron shoving this dirty screwdriver deep into Sharon's neck for what felt like an hour was just giving me an ultimate body terror. Number 7 on my list, tunneling through Noah's closet. What? Tunneling through the wall of Noah's closet and into Sharon's house. I mean, absolutely terrifying Cameron Kirsten moment right now. There. How long did it take to dig the tunnel from the sewer system all the way underground to the edge of Sharon's house? I mean, if Cameron could have done all of that, then he really could have tunneled his way out of prison a whole lot sooner than 20 years. Why do the 20 years of time when you've got these incredible tunneling skills? Oh my gosh. He drilled a hole through the wall of Noah's bedroom closet, Sharon's child's bedroom closet, to get in. And when he was sure that no one was home, he was coming and going. And Noah doesn't live there. It's like your kid's old bedroom that probably only gets used when the kid comes back into town. Sharon probably never goes in there otherwise, so she wouldn't have noticed. She certainly probably never opens up the closet. And then I'm just imagining that Cameron had to cover up the hole too somehow, just in case, so he must have like had something over the hole. I just cannot imagine Nick's shock when he's going to look around through the house to find out how Cameron was coming and going, and then to find a hole in the wall of your kid's bedroom. Ugh. That's how Cameron was able to get the cat. That's how he was able to get the cat and then kill it. Oh, but don't worry, everybody. Cameron's gonna buy Faith a new one. And that brings me to number 6 on my terrifying Cameron Kirsten moments of the week list. Number 6, Faith's new daddy. The way that Cameron was talking to Faith about how he was gonna be her new father and they're gonna like go on vacations and stuff. I was dying. It was so gross. Sure, I'll go on vacation with sewer daddy who has me bound and gagged. I mean, it's just, he's so insane. I have to hand it to Faith because she really had some chutzpah spitting that water back in Cameron's face, because I feel like I probably would have gone the Sharon route and I would have tried to play nice to try to talk my way out of the situation. But Faith was like, no, screw you. And I'm so glad that he wasn't like hitting on her the whole time. He did make one comment about how Faith was just as beautiful as her mother, but it was one comment. It went by. Vomit. That brings me to number 5, the photo text. When Sharon got the text message from Cameron and she saw it, she processed it, she screamed with terror, dropped the phone on the floor, and then like went about her business. I was in total suspense. What did she see? What did she see? Are we going to see? Is this going to be a cliffhanger? Am I going to have to wait till tomorrow to find out? I want to know. What was it? I was panicked. And then just at the very end of the episode, the camera showed us Sharon's phone with a picture of Faith on it, tied up on the ground. Ugh, it was shocking. It was suspenseful, and then it was shocking. I mean, that's just... Seeing Faith tied up was a shocking image for a viewer to see, but God, as a parent, I can't even imagine having to see your child that way. All right, number 4. Number 4, Cameron Kirsten, terrifying moment, was, for me, the plan that Nick and Sharon thought that they had. Nick and Sharon found the bug. They realized that Cameron had been listening to them. He was one step ahead of them the entire time. They figured that out. They alerted Chance. Chance was headed out to the old barn. Nick was going to lead Victor's security team to see if we could follow Sharon. Victor was in on the plan. Victor even had some kind of special ops guy on the line. They were going to follow Sharon to the hotel. Sharon was going to go to the hotel, meet Cameron as he had asked her to do, and she was preparing herself psychologically for what she would have to do next, that she was going to have to get inside of Cameron's head to find a way out of this situation. I mean, Team Hero had a plan. They were doing everything exactly right, and then the second that Nick walked away to go enact that plan and left Sharon alone, Cameron just, boom, floated downstairs out of nowhere, wearing the dirty Newman security outfit, Team Newman security outfit. The maniac was in the house all along. What a twist. Number 3, and oh my goodness, this could have been number 1. The articles of Sharons Clothing. This was revolting. This, I almost could not wrap my brain around it. Cameron was carrying around a silky little piece of Sharons Clothing. I don't know what it was. In my mind, it was like, is this a handkerchief or is this like underwear? He was carrying it around like it was a handkerchief or something, wiping himself with it, and then smelling it. That is so gross. That is so gross. That means that Cameron, I mean, of course he did. He went through her drawers. I mean, ladies, for a moment, just imagine knowing that you have an obsessive stalker who's gone through your underwear drawer. That's like a violation that is second only to rape. It's just, I couldn't believe it. And then, I mean, the worst of all, what about the negligee that Sharon found stashed at the false bottom of the duffel bag? Did you see the negligee that she pulled out of the bottom of the bag? It was ripped to shreds. What did he do? Oh my God, what did he do to the negligee? I can't even. It's just, sex and violence. I don't get it. That's why it was terrifying. And now, moving on to number 2, Sharon's shiv. This was the only violence that I was actually rooting for. When Nick strapped the knife to her thigh, I was riveted. I mean, Sharon looked like a warrior goddess in her poppy red, full-length ball gown with convenient side slit up the leg. Perfect for concealing a paring knife. I really feel like the knife was a great element of dramatic suspense because the knife was not used immediately after it was introduced. Like, Sharon had the knife on her when Nick and Cameron were fighting. She could have run up, jumped on top of Cameron, and stabbed him then, but she didn't. The knife stayed hidden on her leg for, I think, 2 episodes, to the point where all I could think was, is she ever going to use it? Is she ever going to use it? Is she ever going to use it? And then, yes, she used it. When, while Nick was trying to figure out how he was going to bargain his way out of Cameron's riddle, should I blow Faith to heck or should I stab Sharon in the neck? Sharon started to kind of wiggle her way out of Cameron's clutches and move her hand down toward the knife. And then she finally grabbed it and she turned around and she plunged it deep into Cameron's heart. Which brings me to number 1. How do I love thee? Let me count the ways. A psychopath with a penchant for poetry. Number 1. Cameron Kirsten's unique brand of love. This man spent 20 years thinking about Sharon every single day. The moment he met her, he knew that she was the one. And even though she put him away, he still loved her. Despite the fact that she rejected him many times. He still loves her. Even though he thinks she's a bitch. Even though she's a real bitch, he says. He still loves her. And he still loves her. Even as she's plunging the knife into his heart. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Cameron Kirsten's bizarre, twisted definition of love is number 1 on my list because it is so absolutely deranged. He loves Sharon. He says he loves Sharon. He would never hurt her beloved daughter unless he has to. He loves Sharon, but he would beat her to a bloody pulp and slice her throat. I mean, you know he would. He wants them to go away together, like, to some surprise location so that Sharon can, I mean, it was literally like, I'm going to whisk you away to my love prison, where I'm imagining that she's just supposed to be his sex doll forever. Blech. She doesn't even need to take anything because he's going to buy her all new stuff. Bikinis and negligees only, I'm sure. She tried bargaining with him, but that was useless. I mean, the entire time he was just single-mindedly focused on getting what he wanted, her, and nothing was deterring him, not even in the slightest. So Sharon gave in. She pretended to go along. She endured his love. She endured his touches, and she even endured a kiss from him. A kiss from the monster with the bloody face, smelling like the sewer, ready to kidnap her and rape her, and willing to strap a bomb to her daughter. I have to say, I think the bomb was probably the least appealing part of the story to me. It kind of feels like, well, overkill. But it'll probably be fun next week to see Chance and Nikki and Victor come in and, you know, everybody like, oh, we gotta defuse the bomb. And maybe it's nothing. Maybe the bomb will be easily diffused. But we also saw Cameron's hand pretty close to the switch for the bomb. Like, when he dropped to the floor, he was still within arm's reach of the bomb, so there may be a dramatic element still to come there. But also, Cameron died pretty quickly, so maybe there is more fun to be had with Cameron Kirsten in the future. He could still flip the switch, or I think there's also a possibility that while everyone is focused on defusing the bomb, Cameron will slip away. Jack and Diane are planning a September wedding. Doesn't that sound lovely? After a week of mayhem, doesn't a fall wedding, doesn't that just sound good? Like, thinking back to Jack, just, the leaves are on the trees. I just want to slip away into Jack's description of his romantic September wedding. Ashley and Tucker are planning less of a wedding and more of an experience. That's what they're calling it, an experience. It's really been fun for me watching the two couples trying to one-up each other. It's just silly. I mean, Jack and Diane's love seems so pure, and while I do think that Tucker and Ashley have true feelings for one another, Ashley is just such a pile of sour grapes that you could make a rosé out of it. Oh, could you believe that Tucker stole that bottle of wine? He said it was too bouncy for him, and then he turned around and he swiped the bottle right from behind the bar. I think somebody needs to call the GCPD in on this one. It's the little moments. The little moments that are making all of this very fun to watch. And Ashley and Diane bickering with each other and then in unison saying, "She started it." I don't know. It's just funny. And then Abby walking into the middle, wanting to keep the family peace, but knowing that it is all about to blow up. Abby doesn't trust Tucker, and I think she's right to not trust Tucker. Tucker lost his cool with Abby a little bit this week, and he had this great line saying something like, "Well, I sure hope that you're not teaching Dominic that people can't change," which is a brilliant thing to say, but it also doesn't change the fact that he has earned the mistrust that Abby has of him. He's earned the mistrust that anyone would have in him. And so has Diane, and so has Ashley, and then everybody else in this town. Daniel's doing his best to deal with the repercussions of everything that's gone down. He, I think, wants to save both his mom and his sister from the inevitable crash. Lily told Daniel this week that maybe Phyllis needs some time in prison. Maybe she would come out of it as a better person. Lily had a very positive experience in prison. Really changed her, and maybe the same could be said for Phyllis. Yeah, but I feel like Genoa City would be way less dramatic without Phyllis in it, and plus there is no way that Summer is going to let that happen. Summer is totally focused on saving Phyllis. Daniel tried asking Kyle to talk some sense into Summer, to try to reconnect with her, to try to get through to her, but I'm not really sure that's possible at this point. I don't think that Kyle has anything left to say to her at all. What else could be said? Phyllis is starting to change her tune a little bit. Now she's telling Summer to work on her marriage. Don't worry about me. I'm going to be the one that fixes this. But Summer ended up going to Victor to ask for help, asking Victor to help find the evidence that will clear her mom. I don't know. All of this talk about will Kyle be able to forgive Summer for lying to him? And I thought this week, I kind of wonder if maybe Summer is not really going to be able to forgive his mother. Summer right now is the one who did this obvious wrong. But Diane and Summer came face to face this week, and Summer was prepared to get chewed out. But Mother Teresa Saint Diane told Summer that she forgives her and she understands that it was all Phyllis's fault. Well, that didn't sit right with Summer. Summer thinks that this is all Stark's fault, which makes it Diane's fault. So that conversation ended with a slammed front door, and I thought to myself, it may be mutual that this marriage is over. It may not be a matter of Kyle forgiving Summer. It may just be that she really also can't go forward in the marriage under these circumstances. But then again, she did try to convince Mariah to go to bat for her. She got an earful. Summer got an earful from Mariah at Crimson Lights. I really liked how Mariah started out by saying, "Hey, did you like those funeral flowers that we sent? They were beautiful. So what are you going to do? Send all that stuff back now?" I just thought that was a snarky, twisty comment, and I liked it. But I also thought that Mariah backed off a lot from where her position was last week. Last week, she was so adamant that Summer's bad news, Kyle shouldn't be married to her, she can no longer support this relationship. And then when she came face to face with Summer, she was a little bit more wishy-washy. And I thought that Summer made a good point by saying, "Hey, you officiated our wedding. If you didn't believe in our relationship, then why would you do that?" I mean, I don't know. I guess for better or for worse really does not apply to soap opera relationships. Soap opera relationships are all for better only. When it comes to for worse, that's the death nail. But you just never know, because Kyle does kind of strike me as the sentimental type, just like his father. It's entirely possible that Kyle will spend a few weeks pouting and then give Summer another chance. He did not jump right into bed with Audra. I'm proud of him for that. Probably also mostly because I guess I'm kind of not feeling it. I'm not really feeling Kyle and Audra. I just didn't get the sparks. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I feel like it's not a personality match. Why would Kyle leave Summer for being a schemer just to hook up with another even bigger schemer? Also, I just don't think that Kyle would present that much of a challenge for Audra. It would be like shooting a fish in a barrel with him. I mean, Kyle's a total pushover. I feel like Audra needs a man like Adam. That's my official wish. I want Audra and Adam. I mean, look out, Genoa City. I feel like Audra is the kind of woman who could make Adam's dream of taking back Newman Media come true. Victoria thinks that Nick should take a leave of absence and that maybe Nate should take his place. Okay. Well, that sounds good to me. I mean, what's the problem? I don't understand why everyone is so intimidated by Nate. I don't understand why everyone is so sure that this relationship is doomed to fail. Nate is attracted to Victoria's power, but he's also attracted to her beauty and her intelligence and everything that's alluring about her. Why wouldn't Nate be attracted to Victoria? Plus, he's putting in the work. It's not like he's over here secretly planning a takeover or something. I think he makes a good partner for Victoria. And I actually can't believe that we have not done an official poll on this. I looked back through all of our polls. We have not done a Nate and Victoria poll yet. I feel like I've seen a lot of comments pro and con, and this week I want to get some hard numbers on it. YRChat.com is where you can vote in favor or against Nate and Victoria's relationship. Please, please, please be sure to vote this week, because I really want to know where you guys are standing on this. I mean, you know where I stand. I've made it quite clear. It's a big yes for me on Nate and Victoria. I don't see the big problem. And I was kind of turned off by Elena feeling the need to confront them again this week. I'm not saying that she doesn't have the right to be mad. I mean, he dogged her. But it's just, I guess that if I were her, I would probably just avoid him forever, and I would let the relationship take its course, and I think I would just be more quiet about it. I don't think I'd run up to their dinner table to make predictions about their relationship blowing up just so that I can feel better about everything that went on. I mean, Elena kind of blew past a lot of red flags in their relationship, and that part's on her. And I just think, well, what does Elena really even know about the nature of Victoria and Nate's relationship. She knows that she got cheated on and she's entitled to all the feelings she has about that, but what's she know about the connection that they have? She said that she believes that they will eventually burn each other up. Well, why? Why do you believe that? Because it would be a satisfying end for you? And that just feels like sour grapes to me. She said it all once. I don't think she needed to keep saying it. And I don't know. I think I just prefer Elena taking the high road. I think that's more interesting for her. I think she pulls that off a little better. I like that Elena is poised and classy and smart. I mean, I love everything about Elena, and I guess seeing her kind of stoop to that level was just a little bit of a turnoff for me. Like, I mean, but just because her relationship with Nate didn't work out doesn't mean that Victoria's relationship with Nate won't work out. I just think that Elena needs a new direction. How about that? She needs a new man. And I keep thinking back to JT. Like, when's he going to show up? Could JT be a potential new love interest for Elena? Connor apologized for being so moody lately, and he admitted that it has to do with Sally and the baby and the idea that he would have a new baby sister. He told Chelsea that he's doing okay, he's working on it, he's adjusting to the idea, which I hope means that we're gonna see Connor's character show some actual growth and maybe start to feel sad that he's not gonna have a baby sister now, and maybe see Connor choosing to support his dad. I think that would be a really heartwarming set of scenes, because Connor is dealing with a lot of adult complications while being just a kid. And at the end of the day, Connor is just a kid who needs his mom and dad, and I'm sure he is afraid of losing their attention. I thought that those were pretty good scenes. I thought that was a pretty good conversation, but Chelsea still said that she's worried about Connor, so I don't know if there's going to be more to it beyond this. I'm kind of hoping maybe Connor just spends the summer in his bedroom flipping through the old TV, maybe discover some soap operas. That's how it happens. Connor seems like he would be more of a Days of Our Lives fan, though. Like, maybe Connor would appreciate the supernatural elements of Days of Our Lives, you know, since he's part vampire. All right, let's get to the other big drama of the week. So, I feel like Sally going to the hospital and having Adam have to choose between her life and the baby's life, and then Sally ultimately losing the baby, was just a lot to cram into one episode. It all just felt really rushed to me, and that made it, I don't know, just not as entertaining, not as compelling, I guess. I mean, not that I want to be entertained by Sally's miscarriage, but it just was all so quick. I mean, I understand that something like that happens fast and that Adam was meant to not have very much time to make that decision. It's just that for dramatic purposes, I kind of wish we would have spent a little more time on it. Elena just kind of popped up with her deadpan delivery, basically saying, Adam, I need you to choose who lives and who dies. It just all felt very contrived to me. Like, is this the point where the writers are gone? Where the writer's strike has happened and maybe we're dealing with a little bit lower caliber of writing here? Or I don't know. It felt like, okay, we need to dump this baby. Let's do it super quick on a week where everybody's also thinking about something else dramatic, and we'll just dumb it down as much as possible. One episode, done. I don't know. I don't feel like we got to spend any time with Adam. He was asked to make this completely impossible decision, which is a legitimate setup for a story. That was a good setup, but then we didn't get to hear his thought process. It was just like, well, I mean, duh, we know he's not going to let Sally die, but he could have had some good self-dialogue going on around it. I feel like all of the real emotional drama came early in the week because Nick said, hey, brother daddy, can you please keep an eye on my girlfriend while I go take care of this psychopath from my past that has come back to haunt me and my ex-wife? So Sally and Adam actually got to spend time together early in the week, and he was caring and attentive with her. It's clear that he loves her so very much, and yet she is so totally oblivious to him. He brings her fruit and grilled cheese. Grilled cheese! That is some food for the soul right there. And, I mean, she's like, thanks, she's grateful, but not when the chips are down. Adam told her stories, he tucked her into bed, and then as he's tucking her into bed in the sweetest of sweet moments, she reaches out her hand to him. They grasp hands together, and she looks at him and says, "Can you wake me up when Nick calls?" That is a crushing blow. I mean, that was actually one of the few moments that I felt very connected to the story. And I felt very connected to Adam in that moment. There was something about that that felt very relatable because it seemed as if all signs were there. But nope. Unrequited love. And I wonder now if that's the story. Unrequited love. Because I've spent months now wanting to categorize it as Sally in denial that she loves Adam. But now I think that that is really not it. Maybe Adam and Sally are not fated to be reunited. Next week, after everything that Adam did for her, after all of the ways that he was attentive to her, how do I love thee? Let me count the ways. After all that, she's waking up from the surgery or whatever, and she's screaming that it's his fault that the baby is gone. I mean, that is so tone deaf. Of course, Sally's grieving. She's definitely traumatized. She's been traumatized by this. But why, after everything, is she lashing out at Adam? Why Adam? And why not the doctors? Why not herself? Why not God? I mean, like, there's so many other places that Sally could funnel that energy for some great dramatic moments. Why funnel it toward the person who's been there for her the whole time? The person who went to the trouble of hiding her shoes so that she wouldn't go charging out of the hotel looking for Nick or something and putting herself in danger. And what about Nick now? Is Sally going to be mad at Nick too for not being there for her? Or are they going to team up and act like Adam is a baby killer because he made the exact same choice that a doctor would have made? What a bummer. Go wherever you're happy. That's our quote for this week at yrchat.com. That feels like a nice way to bring the mood up. Go wherever you're happy. Do you know who said that? If you do, yrchat.com to leave your guess. And from last week's Y&R Chat, justice might be blind, but our enemies don't forget. The answer to that one was Summer. Summer said that to Chance. She was claiming that Christine has a vendetta against Phyllis. Justice might be blind, but our enemies, Christine, don't forget. Congratulations, Henry, Kayla, Rose, Ron, and good old Marky. Only 4 winners from last week. Will there be more this week? We will wait and soon find out. But first, let's read some comments for the week. Robin predicts that now Connor will be ridden with guilt that his baby sister died from his bad thoughts, and he'll think that he is the next omen boy from hell. You know, that's a darn good prediction, Robin, because Chelsea has said at length that she really wants to get counseling for Connor, and maybe he said, no, I don't need that. But maybe you're right that his reaction toward Sally's losing the baby will be to think that it was his fault, and then we'll see him actually absolutely have to get some counseling. Well, Gary says, so we're going that route. Sally blaming Adam that he let hope die. Now, chat does not allow getting into real-life politics, but with Sally having only begun to show last week, clearly that baby was too underdeveloped and premature to have lived. Yeah, definitely. I mean, she was maybe in her second trimester. I don't know very much about the viability of whether the baby would have been able to survive on the outside world. But again, it just reinforces that Adam made the right decision. The chances of the baby living after being delivered so early are very low. So he could have lost them both. If he would have chose the baby, there was a higher likelihood that he just would have lost them both. And also, I like that you're mentioning the name here. That was a very sweet moment between them. Adam mentioning that Hope would make a beautiful name for the baby. And honestly, when he said that, I thought, oh, she's going to have the baby. There's no way they're going to name the baby Hope and then the baby's going to die. Adam has to be fated to have a daughter named Hope. This makes complete sense. And especially an Adam Sally baby named Hope. It just works. No, I'm shocked that the baby was named Hope and then died, because right before Sally, one of the last words that Sally said before she fell unconscious. That was just another thing. It was like, Elena, okay, Adam, Sally's now unconscious. She's probably gonna die if we know. I mean, there was something about it that was just like, this feels a little high school play, like a high school play or something. I don't know. It just didn't have that dramatic punch. There wasn't enough filling in the plot to make it feel, to make me really get into it. And I should feel the tension, but I didn't. But yeah, the last thing she said was, Hope's a beautiful name. And then boom, that's it. I mean, there's a lot of sadness there. I think they could have ratcheted it up. Sharon says, I can't wait much longer for Sally to have the light bulb moment and realize and remember how much she really does love Adam. He would move heaven and earth for Sally. He offered to buy her a house. And the way he talks so lovingly about his daughter melts my heart. Sharon, I think that's the thing. I feel like we all keep waiting for the light bulb moment where Sally realizes that she loves Adam. And maybe the sad fact is, it's not going to happen. Love doesn't always work out. We don't always get the happy ending. Well, different topic. Victoria says it looks like Nate and Audra are busted. They were on full display at Society when Victor walked in. If Victor was super hearing, he knows that Nate is betraying Victoria and Newman. Oh my, Nate's respectability has vanished, and in its place is a cunning manipulator. I always, every time Nate and Audra have a conversation, I'm like, this is one of those things where they look like they're scheming, but the words coming out of their mouth don't seem that scheming to me. Is it really that big of a deal that he was talking with his COO or whatever their titles are? I mean, they work together. She's his second in command. Is it that big of a deal that he was talking with her and they were strategizing about her taking over for him if he needs to step in for Nick? I don't know. I'm just not getting the scheminess from it that I feel like it looks like on the surface. Maybe it's meant to be that way. Maybe it's meant to look schemy on the surface, but really if you peel away what they're saying, it's not that big of a deal. It's all pretty mild. Kamna says, I really love Elena's new tell it like it is attitude. This will be fun. I'm wondering if there might be a temporary relationship or friendship with Adam and Elena. Nate or Victoria said something like, I hope she finds someone too. And then they cut to Elena in the hospital and Adam walking in. If they do go the route of Sally hating Adam and Nick staying with her because he's overcome with guilt for not being there, then Adam will need someone to comfort him and understand his decision. Can't it be Audra? Can't it be Audra, I ask you? Adam plus Audra, please. Diana says, I enjoyed seeing Elena burn Victoria at the athletic club. Elena told Victoria that men use her, and she reminded Victoria about Ashland. Elena then told Victoria that men are happy to be with her as long as they get what they want. That must have been very difficult for Victoria to hear, and it must have made Victoria reflect on Elena's words. Yeah, and I mean, in all of this, Victoria deserves her burns too. She cheated with the guy who was involved with someone else. It's just that Elena already had her say, and I was for it the first time. I was like, yeah, you go, Elena, the first time, but continuing to follow up and continuing to feel the need to insert herself there just wasn't, I don't know, something about that didn't sit as well with me. Connie says, I still really dislike the Nate and Victoria scenes, but Elena telling them off was very satisfying. We also got new sets, a hospital, and an underground tunnel that got us out of a rut of society, the GCAC, or the coffee house. Yeah, I mean, I know that's the reason why I want to see the poll results this week, because I know some people aren't feeling Nate and Victoria, and I just wonder what those cold, hard numbers are. And also, I could not believe we were seeing that hospital set. It's weird that it had, that when you go to the GCAC, or sorry, when you go to the Genoa City Memorial Hospital, you don't go to an emergency room, waiting room, or anything. You just wander into the hospital, into one of the rooms where Elena is just sitting there casually in her street clothes. And that's how you get admitted in Genoa City. Yeah, that was a little funny, but I was happy to see the hospital set. And about the tell-offs, Sue W. says, tell-offs are so fun for soap audiences. Elena's first lash out was brilliant, but in my opinion, her repeat performances are losing their punch. Warranted or not, and satisfying or not, nastiness is always a losing look, but great to watch. Her going off on Nate and Victoria just seems to echo Amanda's going off on Devon and Abby. Eon, viewers just had that experience. Elena needs a moving on story. Stuff happens. Lovers cheat. People can be a-holes, and life goes on. I love Elena's character, and I have high hopes that she'll take the high road past sinking to be a regularly run-at-the-mouth snark puss. It's unbecoming. Oh, Sue W, there. You said that what I'm feeling. I think that's it. Warranted or not, it just doesn't look good. But Sharad has this great other perspective by saying, okay, so bad behavior is good for Ashley, Nikki, Phyllis, toward Diane over something that happened 30 years ago. But Elena can't be bitter about something that happened to her just 3 weeks ago. That is a great point, Sharad. Why did I not like Elena getting in her tell-off for Victoria, but I do like Ashley and Diane telling each other off. It probably boils down to my Nate love. I think I can just go ahead and admit my bias there, because right now I'm just really enjoying putting myself into Victoria's shoes and getting to make sweet, sweet love to Nate all day and all night. And I just really don't need Elena coming up to my dinner table and interrupting me while I'm trying to do it. I mean, let's say there's a CEO of a company. We'll call the company Y&R Chat Enterprises. And we'll say the CEO of Y&R Chat Enterprises works really hard all the time and just needs a little someone to help come in and carry some of the weight and help her get the work done. What's the problem? Oh. Well, speaking of Diane, Gary says, that is the most satisfying thing in the world. Benevolent Diane forgiving Summer right in front of her face. It had to go down this way, as Summer is forced to see who Diane has become. She can't believe it. Diane doesn't appear to be anything like the person Mommy says she is. But wait, Diane is not a total pushover, as she begins to put the blame where it really belongs, on Phyllis. Summer's about to turn and completely melt down on her, and now back to the show. Yeah, it's interesting. It's almost like, okay, the tell-off is very satisfying maybe the first time, but I'll tell you, I think Diane telling Summer that she forgives her. That was almost more satisfying in a strange way. The choice to not do the tell-off is also strangely satisfying, and sometimes maybe even more. Well, last week I asked you guys if you think that Kyle and Summer should stay together or break up, and wow, 76% of you say it is time to break up. Sharad says, I'm ready for the Audra and Kyle pairing, even if it's a short, brief affair, because as much as Mariah may not completely trust Summer, you know she prefers her over her brother's ex, Audra Charles. Personally, I love everything about Miss Audra. I really love Audra, too, the more and more that I see her. I want to get her out of these endless conversations with Nate. Kyle seems a little too boring for her, to be honest, and I think that I feel similarly about Adam. I love the character of Adam. There's so much to work with for him. I mean, Mark Grossman is doing a bang-up job, and I just think these are two characters that suffer from, underuse, and it's just not very imaginative, and I feel like they could really come together and be explosive. Kyle strikes me as your typical romantic lead. He gives me more rom-com. Not everybody is the same. The point is we have different characters and different personalities, but I feel like Kyle works really well in your kind of typical romantic, rom-com-y type of relationship, whereas I could see Audra and Adam in something more dynamic because their personalities are more dynamic. And they're both ambitious, and they both want something, and their interests are aligned. If Adam wants Newman Media back, and Audra wants to climb the ladder, then it seems like they would make much better allies, and maybe even get some work romance going there too. Well, Marianne V voted that Kyle and Summer should stay together, but they have a lot of work to do on their relationship. They love each other, but they both put their mothers first before each other. Will it be hard for Kyle to trust Summer after all of the lies? Yeah, you know what? I mean, it is a little bit true. Maybe both Kyle and Summer put their mothers first, and it probably will be difficult for them both to trust each other ever again. But Tony thinks that Kyle and Summer are going to stay together. These two are the Nikki and Victor of the future. I know. Nikki and Victor broke up many times and got back together. That's part of a long story. But I just don't think now is the time. With so few characters in Genoa City, they wouldn't have immediate partners. Yeah, the only way it would work is if Kyle goes with Audra and maybe Summer goes with Chance, and then Sharon and Nick, and I don't know, it just doesn't seem like Adam and Sally are going to get back together anytime soon. Well, let's talk about this Cameron Kirsten. Kayla Rose says, what is this? Michael Baldwin 2.0? Cameron digging holes through the walls like Michael did to get back at Christine in the day? Yeah, the tunnel digging was perfect for the episode where, I think it was the same episode, that Christian LeBlanc came out to the ranch. Michael came out to the ranch. And he was talking about the fact that he was a confidant of Sharon's at the time when Cameron Kirsten was doing all of this, which actually was a perfect tie-in to his past at the time, and it was a perfect tie-in now. You guys, I have to ask you, did anyone notice that Christian LeBlanc's eye seemed a little off? Like maybe he had LASIK or something, but it looked like one of his eyes was having a little bit of trouble focusing, or maybe it was had become lazy. Did anyone notice that? Sorry for the rude question. And is there any more story to that? Let me know. Well, Victoria says, seriously, Barney Fife has more wins than Victor's security team. Yeah, he's had to fire 2 of them this past week. And Naomi says, Victor's the best when these bad situations happen. He actually probably would commission an army to save Faith, but he allowed Sharon to make the decision on the best approach. His heartfelt gratitude for Sharon's courage is an example of why he's loved by viewers despite his sometimes very poor behavior. Yes, Eric Braeden is a gem. I did notice he seemed a little bit uncomfortable physically this week, and he sat down rather quickly. We do see him in scenes sitting most of the time, but he seemed like he had a little bit of trouble getting down the steps in Sharon's house, and then he needed to sit. I still think about that a lot, and I think about him a lot, knowing that he is undergoing treatment for I wasn't sure if it was prostate cancer or bladder cancer, but he is undergoing treatment, and I think of him frequently. And I am grateful that he was in these scenes, and I think we're going to be seeing him in even more scenes next week in the sewer. Daisy says, I'm sure Sharon will be guilt-ridden over what happened to Faith. Before Faith was taken, Sharon had been talking about her not wanting her daughter to ever experience the horror that she had, and now Faith has had some of that happen to her. So I wonder if any part of Faith's reaction to what happened to her will remind Sharon of herself. but Faith did seem stronger in her captivity than Sharon did. That's an interesting point because, yeah, Faith had a totally different reaction than Sharon did. I think Sharon just had so much experience with Cameron, and she just knew there was going to be no winning, and she was desperately trying to find a way out and save her daughter, and I think she knew that fighting just wasn't going to work with him, whereas Faith had all of that. This is her first time experiencing something like this, so she had all of that fire and just spit that water right in his face. She was really strong, but it's a good question about, will Faith, Faith's obviously going to have some trauma as a result of this, and will we continue to see her journey with that? Best question of the week comes from Ellen, who says, why is Sharon wearing a slinky, full-length gown-type dress and heels around the house? Wouldn't you want to wear something practical if a lunatic was menacing you? What if you needed to run? Maybe it's her outfit for watching the Tony Awards. And Naomi says, Sharon needs to get herself changed into some street fighting clothes and then use those karate moves she was teasing showing Adam at Crimson Lights a few weeks ago. A swift kick to the face or elsewhere when Cameron opens up the door, then club him with the croquet mallet and grab Faith and run. And Victoria says, yes, Sharon, please don't wear a slinky low-cut wrap dress to meet a sexual predator. Black turtleneck, black pants, black tennis shoes will do the job and hopefully lower his lust level. Oh my goodness, I couldn't keep my eyes off of the gorgeous poppy red gown that Sharon was wearing. She looked amazing. But yes, you're right. It's a completely wrong outfit to be battling a psychopath in. Not only the fact that it was completely impractical, but also so sexy. When you want to look your worst for Cameron Kirsten. Oh, speaking of looks, Niece911 says, Nikki sure does look lovely these days. Face, professional pantsuits, and a slimmer physique. Nice. Hey, I noticed that Nikki looked a little bit slimmer, and I gotta love this hair. Henry says, is it me or did anyone else feel like Nikki, Abby, and Ashley all went to the same hairdresser this week? And Niece911 says, did Nikki and Ashley get perms? Both mimicking the same hair looks. Good for the beach, not for their roles. And Victoria says, the crimped look is back. It's not my favorite hairstyle, but they wear it well. Yeah, that's what it is. It's a crimper. It's not a perm, it's a crimper. OMG, the crimper. You're right, it is very beachy, though. I love it. I love the curls. And Henry's right. Everybody did look the same, though. Somebody got a crimper and just went crazy with it. Final comment here comes from T. Nicole, who says, such a quick moment, but I'm happy to see that Allie grabbed a screenshot of Tucker reaching behind the bar in the lounge to took the bottle of whatever drink they were having. Tucker, that's called stealing. I think it was the actor improvising and playing with the props on set like he always does so well. Yes! I mean, you gotta hand it to him. In a week of high drama, Tucker McCall still takes the cake. Or takes the wine bottle, as it were. All right, everybody. Big week. Go to yrchat.com to leave your comments. I'd love to have your top 10 most suspenseful moments of the Cameron Kirsten story or of the entire week or anything else you want to say. Again, yrchat.com is where you can leave those comments, and I will be back next Sunday to give you my comments on whatever is about to unfold with this bomb situation. Lots of good reasons to tune into Y&R next week, and I will be back on Sunday to talk about it all. I love you guys. Have a wonderful week. Bye.